Hi guys, this is Mr. Crazy Science back, and I am back with another video. And this video is just kind of about newsy sort of stuff. The gameplay in the background would be Fistful of Frags. It's a great Steam game. I already did a little video thingy on that. And I am just going over a quick little thing I wanted to talk about, which was essentially kind of the state of Steam. Now, I guess the quote-unquote data, if you want to call it that, that I collected for this video, I actually took on the 19th, which today's the 23rd, so it was a bit late to putting this thing up. But so essentially, I was just looking at Steam and what do people buy on Steam, and obviously video games, but what kind of video games? So looking at on the 19th of December, and of May, 2014 top bestseller thing right now is Wolfenstein New Order. Now at this point it's already out, but at this time it was available the 20th, which was the next day, whatever. Once again, pre-order. Pre-orders to me are immensely annoying. The one thing is that you're essentially physical copies. I can sort of understand that to a small degree, but even though stores, they usually don't even run out of copies. Usually they usually have plenty in stock. But with Steam, it just doesn't make sense. It's not like they're gonna somehow, even though this actually did happen to me with that Star Wars sale, they ran out of CD keys. But on a new release game that's not an old game that's on sale, a brand new release, you don't have to pre-order it, because it's not like they're gonna run out of copies physically. It's just not gonna happen. Maybe it will, but it's highly unlikely. And then the next thing, that second bestseller, Watch Dogs, that is also a AAA title that is a pre-order. It's still a valid pre-order. It's May 27th is when it's available. DayZ, which is essentially pre-ordering. It's an early access title. I would have to say I do own it, but I'm not saying I'm kind of not boycotting early access. I'm just not investing in any more early access games at this point. Not because I've been burned, but it's like there are some games out there, like actually Towns, I was kind of burned on, but I kind of forgot about that game. Like the development recently actually just stopped for that, which was kind of interesting. I actually haven't played it in literally 6 months, but aside that. And then Arma 3, well, that's already released, so that doesn't really count. Transistor, this was also a pre-order. It's like, that was what, the 5th one down the list, and we already have essentially 3 pre-orders and 1 early access. And then, well, we have a game on sale, War Game Red Dragon. I believe that, yeah, that's already released, obviously. Dark Souls 2, already released. Space Engineers, early access again. So we have 2 early access, 3 pre-releases, the top 10 sellers. Then Battle Box Theater, that was already released at that point. And Tropico was also a pre-order. Double check my yeah, it was a pre-order at that point. And it's just, don't pre-order games, guys, seriously, and don't, because they aren't going to run out of copies. Don't do early access. That's essentially pre-ordering a game. And the Co-optional podcast and other people have done really good job at kind of saying that when they say you're helping development of the game, you really aren't. You're essentially paying these video game developers to essentially be guinea pigs or beta testers. So, or just game testers overall. It's like, hey, well, people can pay us to work. That's essentially what you're doing. You're paying this company to have you work for them, and it's kind of absurd if you really think about it. It's silly, really. It's just like, why would you do this? And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I personally think, is a very silly thing to do. And now, I forgot even. And so yes, and there are people out there who are doing this. There is a fair amount of people. If the first 2 games on the list are both pre-orders, and yeah, in the top 5, there's 3 pre-orders. But I can say one thing: early access on a game, like if we go an early access on a game, for instance, that's an indie title. Not trashing indies here. I love indie games, but an indie title like DayZ, even South Towns, there can be development that just stops. There have been other games too. It's like also, this is like the whole thing. I almost think Kickstarter, like I would almost say in the sense of Kickstarter that it's a very well. I think everyone kind of knows, but there's been many kind of scares where people kind of ran off with money, and that's kind of the same thing with early access, because Steam does not really filter it that much at all. And they're like, we have games like we have games like 20 or what was it, 23. We have like oh yeah, I forgot something on the Steam page. I think we call like 2049 or whatever. Games like that who are just like outright terrible and even unplayable, and they filter those things out eventually, but it's still, they don't filter out everything. It's pretty unfiltered to the degree that you can still get really burned on a game that's not going to be finished for a long time or may never get finished to the degree. And that's why don't buy some, like, wait for a review to come out, wait for people on YouTube to do a review, and wait for them to take the bullet for you instead of you obviously just going like, oh darn it. Be a good responsible consumer and find out or actually see gameplay of a normal person playing instead of just the game dev or some hired out press personnel. I would go to the second page on the 19th of May. And we have Counter-Strike Global Offense. That's a real game. Fine with that. Whatever. Landmark Settler DLC. Which, DLC, when they mean this, it's a free-to-play game, but obviously you get Landmark to go in early. Now, as you guys see, I did actually get the Settler pack. This is, I would almost say, close to the one exception for doing early access, because it is from SOE, and there's gameplay out there before you buy it, and actually I take that back, because there's the same thing with early access. Just because there's gameplay doesn't mean it will come out to become a good game. But it is by Sony Online Entertainment, are publishing it, and I have a feeling that like you won't get scammed for your money, but it might not turn out the right way. So I sort of can see the consensus on that. Like, but yeah, that I believe is the last game I'm ever gonna buy early. It's a good game, but I'm just saying, don't. And then Rust, I've heard there's some pretty bad problems with that currently, sorta. Dynasty Warriors 8 already came out. Age of Mythology Extended Edition. Old game being re-released. That, it bothers me. Like, just the amount of games that are released on Steam. It's just, the thing is that also the problem is with the Steam store, they have to have more filters. Like, I remember back before there were DLC buttons on Steam, so there's just a ton of DLC. The Steam was released in 2002 for crying out loud. I want them to add technically not new release, like if it was once on the same platform a long time ago. Of course, if let's say they have to have some guidelines, because obviously if it's ported from console later, like for instance we got GT, or no, we haven't even gotten to GTA 5, I don't think yet. Whatever. Games get ported over to PC late sometimes. That's fine. But if it's a game like like Clans, which was an old game from 1999, that like if you're releasing something that is to the point where it was released and now you're re-releasing it so you can essentially just get more money out of it, there should be some sort of filtration button on new releases, because it's not really drastic anymore, but about a month ago there were literally, I believe I counted 7 games that were not released, that were old re-releases on the front pages of Steam new releases. And it's really annoying because there's already enough saturation in my opinion. Like, let's see, okay. Games out, today's the 23rd, I'm looking on the Steam page now. Labyrinth, I think that's Labyrinth of Dreams. Indie, Casual, blah blah blah, released today. Distant Worlds Universe, released today. A-Train 9, released today. They Breathe, released today. Game Character Hub, released today. That's actually software. Oh, and also software filtration on new releases. That would also be very nice. Showtime, because if I don't want to see a ton of new like Game Maker or DLC or whatever added to the front page. I don't care about. It's meant for games. It's not meant for software. Or it would be nice if they just even filtered it off the front page completely. But that I don't think that'd be totally fair. But if they just had extra check buttons like show DLC content or not show it. Oh, and also I take that back. There are also 2 more pieces of DLC for software, I believe. Oh, except for this Fantasy Grounds thing. But yeah, uncheck that. All 10 slots essentially on the front page of new releases were all released today, and that's pretty large amount of games being released. And we go to the second page. 23rd, May 23rd releases go down. Let me see. 13 spots down. That's a pretty large amount, and if you're being knocked out by DLC or old games that are being released, that could really hurt indie sales. And I just feel really bad for some indie devs that can get pushed off pages by old games, or just even a flood of new like software editions or something. And back to this. So Age of Mythology, that's the 5th one down. Gary's Mod, game that's been out forever. Fine with that. Race the Sun, that's already released. Civilization Complete Edition, already released. And Skyrim and Stanley Parable. So this, what I'm trying to get at is be a responsible consumer. Do not pre-order. Do not get early access games. I strongly disagree with it, and I'm sort of kind of boycotting it. I guess I don't know if this is really called a boycott, but I'm resistant, and I think the only game I ever pre-ordered was Skyrim. That was it. That's because that was a game I was going to buy midnight release regardless. So, hope you guys liked the video. If you guys did, please subscribe, like it, share it,